Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dave, and the next 10 minutes is intended to save you lots of time. So have you heard this before? Sell a put option and collect income while you wait. Probably. I think I've said it a few times myself. However, while selling options is often depicted as a simple way to make some extra income, it's not that at all, despite often feeling that way. And today I want to talk about what selling options actually looks like, what the risks really are, how it ties into the option income ETFs that we often discuss, and why most of what you see on YouTube about this topic is incomplete at best. So if that is what you're looking for, please stick around. Whoop. Now, I do love trading options, but sometimes I feel like I need to reset expectations. Let's start with something that most options content won't tell you.
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
The option market is extremely efficient. And because it's efficient, it's extremely fair. Not fair like everyone wins, fair like the price you're getting for that option already reflects the probability of the outcome. So the edge you think you have is already priced in. Option prices start with something like the Black-Scholes model. I know, really exciting stuff. It looks at several factors, though, including stock price, timed expiration, and implied volatility. Then, once buyers and sellers get involved and the underlying starts moving around, while those are still the major factors, the final price comes down to supply and demand. Market makers adjust prices to hedge their own positions. It's a sophisticated machine. Now, picture this. On one side of the table, you have a room full of analysts and actuaries, right? They're monitored by the Warren Buffetts of the world, right? And this guy's pounding the desk. He's demanding results. He wants that free money too. He wants that easy money. Meanwhile, on the other side, you're sitting at your desk, right? You're nibbling a grilled cheese. You're trying to decide what Delta Strike to sell this week on that hot Micron stock. Well, someone from a YouTube video in the background is mumbling about option convexity.
Every seventh conductor being connected by a non-reversible Tremie pipe to the differential girdle spring on the up end of the gram meters.
Clearly, you have the advantage, no doubt in my mind. So just wave, right? Wave to the professionals working against you as you nibble that grilled cheese, because the options market, it might reward you 10 times in a row. It'll look easy, it'll feel easy, but that 11th trade might take you right back to even minus some fees. Now, if it wasn't fair, those actuaries, those quants, they would have extracted every single dollar out of it. So the fact that you can still trade options doesn't necessarily mean that you have an edge. It means the market needs someone on the other side of the trade. By the way, like and subscribe if you like this type of content. I called YouTube again and convinced them to make it free again this week. They do seem angry that I keep calling, but I'm doing it for you guys. So in my mind, options are really about trading probabilities and hedging a directional view over a period of time. So we get to pick a strike price, and that strike price is going to be our best guess. And hopefully we're lucky with our best guess. But often the question is, can options provide a steady stream of income? And I would say it certainly can feel that way, especially when we're selling out of the money options that have a really high probability of success. So we're gonna have a really great win rate. You'll think you figured it out, and then it catches up to you. For example, if we sell a 20 delta put option, we should win most of the time. That's the math, roughly 80% probability of it expiring worthless, right? We collect the premium, we move on, we feel smart. But the 20% of the time that it goes against us, that loss, that can be catastrophic, because those unlikely events will happen. It's not a matter of if, it's when. So just look back at stocks like PayPal, CVS, United Healthcare last year, Intel. These are stocks that took massive hits, sudden hits that no 20 delta strike was going to save us from. Or stocks with incredible momentum where a sold call capped our upside. Again, I'm thinking Intel or Micron. Those are great examples from this year. This is what people mean when they talk about the efficient market hypothesis. The market has already priced in the probability of these events. The premium that we collect, that was the market's way of paying us fairly for the risk that we're taking. Not generously, just fairly. Now let me get personal with this, because I've lived it, right? Intel, I expected this stock to do so well a few years back. Expanding production looked like great value. I was quite bullish. I owned a ton of Intel shares from having puts assigned, and I was slowly selling calls against that position. I even did a video on it, took some heat in the comments because it continued to tumble. Eventually, I did sell the position for a loss, and I moved on to greener pastures. Now, how has Intel done since? It's up around 450% in the last year. Just hit an all time high. Looks like a hockey stick on the chart. So, did my covered calls on Intel make me a little income along the way? Sure. Did selling the position and missing that 450% move make that income look ridiculous in hindsight? Absolutely. And that's the thing about capping our upside. It sounds harmless. Oh, I'll just sell a call, I'll collect a little premium. So you do it on those recently purchased Micron shares and you miss out on that 100% move to start the year. Then it doesn't feel so harmless. Or how about the panic covered call, right? The stock drops, you're sitting on a loss and you think, let me sell a covered call to collect a little premium, make myself feel better about this decline. Only for the market to reverse direction and rip right back up. And now your call is deep in the money and you've capped your recovery. You turned a temporary loss into a permanent one. So your view on a stock, it can change and it can change quickly, right? You fall in love, you sell puts, you get assigned, you sell calls, you get comfortable. And then one day you realize you've been managing a position that the thesis no longer supports. I've been there plenty of times. So, taking that all into consideration, why all the fuss about these covered call ETFs? Why have I been building portfolios and using these types of products for the last several months? Well, because the ETF wrapper changes the game in many ways that people don't necessarily appreciate. First, professional management. You're not nibbling at grilled cheese and guessing at deltas. You actually have a team making daily decisions about which strikes to sell, when to roll, how to manage risk. So that's the actuaries working for you instead of against you. Second, tax efficiency. Most of these ETFs use Section 1256 contracts. You've probably heard of these. These get that 60-40 tax treatment, 60% long-term capital gains, 40% short-term, regardless of holding period. That's a tax advantage most retail option traders don't access because they shy away from index options. And on top of that, funds like SPYI and OVL, these distribute significant return of capital, which defers your tax treatment entirely. Third, diversification. You can certainly sell against indexes yourself, but when you sell a put on a single stock, you're concentrated in one name. When an ETF sells options on the S&P 500 or NASDAQ 100, you're spread across hundreds of companies, so if one stock blows up, it doesn't destroy the whole portfolio. Fourth, discipline, right? The ETF runs the strategy systematically. It doesn't panic, it doesn't fall in love with Intel stock. It doesn't sell a covered call out of fear after a drop. It just executes. That doesn't mean covered call ETFs are perfect. They're far from it. They still cap our upside. They still underperform in strong bull markets on a total return basis. But the structural advantages, that tax treatment and professional execution, diversification, discipline, those are real and they're meaningful, especially for retirees who want income without becoming full-time option traders. So, big question, does trading individual options actually provide any real value? I think so. I love me some options. I make videos on options. I like them. I like the wheel strategy. I like selling simple puts. I like spreads. I like it when my sold put expires out of the money and I get to keep all that option premium. It satisfies part of my gambling nature, I suppose. Selling puts on a stock that you love at a price that you're willing to pay, it does make sense. But like Intel, sometimes you fall out of love.
I think I was in love once.
Really? What was her name?
I don't remember.
That's not a good start.
Here are a few examples where I think individual options add real value. Using market neutral strategies to lower portfolio volatility during those quiet periods when nothing is happening, or buying options to reduce capital requirements for a long position. Selling more aggressively when volatility spikes because that's when premium is actually worth collecting, and always making sure you're sizing your positions so that any single trade can't blow up your account. I guess that's more of a word of caution. But if you're selling options because you think it's free income, if you're treating it like a passive paycheck, that's where people can get hurt, and it is a lesson that can take a long time to fully understand. Look, options, they are a powerful tool. I think they're worth understanding, and a lot of people love to utilize them. But like me, they are a tool. I mean, they're not a strategy all by themselves. The market that we're working with here it's extremely efficient. The probabilities are fair, and the professionals who price these things are very, very good at their jobs. If you want option-based income in your retirement portfolio, I think the ETF wrapper, it's a good path for many people. You can let the professionals handle the execution, you get the tax benefits, you get to keep your diversification, and you get to spend your time doing literally anything else other than staring at Delta strikes and trying to figure out what to do while eating your grilled cheese. Now, if this video helped, please like and subscribe, and you can drop me a comment down below. We try to do this every single Sunday. Let me know, do you trade options yourself? Have you been burned? Have you had success? Let's talk about it. It's okay. I shared. You can too. And if you want to talk about how to build an option income portfolio yourself, you can reach out to me via my email. I've been working with some people. It's been great. Let me know, and we will see you next time. Have a great night. Take care.